So let's start with the first one. This is section E6, the rectangular coordinate system and the graphs. So for the first thing, we're going to start with the Cartesian plane, which is the XY coordinate. Now keep in your mind always, this is the X coordinate, this is the Y coordinate. Always here is going to be the positive X, and here is negative X. Here is going to be the positive Y, and here is the negative Y. So any point, they're going to give you any point, and they're going to ask you to graph this point, any point, when you're trying to graph it. For example, if you want to graph 3 and 4, always this is the X, and here's the Y. So if you look to this part, here's always positive, positive. This one, the X is negative, the Y is positive. This quarter is the X is negative, the Y is negative. Then the X positive, the Y is negative. So if you want to do that to make everything easier for you, there is always X is positive, Y is positive. Positive number. On this side, X is negative and Y is positive. On this side, always X is negative, Y is negative. On this one, X is positive and Y is negative. Positive and Y is negative. So this is easier to figure out where the point is going to locate. So for example, X 3 and Y is 4. That means it's located on this part. So X is a 3, 1, 2, 3, and Y is 4. 1, 2, 3, and Y is 4. I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4. So the location for this point is going to be here. Let's say this is A. Add down A. If you have this point, say B. B equal -2 and 5. So X is -2 and Y is 5. Negative, I'm going to go to the negative side. X is 2, so it's going to be 1, 2. Y is 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the location for this point is going to be here. This is B. Let's take another point. -3 and -4. -3, X is negative, Y is negative, that's mean here. The location for this point is going to be here. So I'm going to say X is -3, 1, 2, 3, and Y is -4, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So the location for this point is going to be here. This is C. Another example is doing D. If you have -5 and -1, X is negative, Y is negative. X is negative, Y is negative. Let's change this one to a positive. So it's going to be here. So this one positive, and this one negative. So X is positive, Y is negative. That's mean exactly like this. X is positive, Y is negative. So that's mean the location for this point is going to be here. So 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the Y is -1. So the location for this point is going to be here. So here is D. So that's the easiest way to graph any point. They give you 4 options, and you need to locate all these points, and you have to look where's the right one. So let's start with the first one. The first point, if you look, this point is 5, 1. That means x is 5, y is 1. So if I look to, let's start with this graph. X is 5, so that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And y is 1, so I'm going to go up 1. So that means this is right. The first point is right because I found a point here, 5, x, and y is 1. Let's check the second one. X is 6, and y is -7. X is 6, and y is -7. That means here's x 6, y is -7. So the location is supposed to be 5, 6, 7. So it's going to be here. The location for this point is supposed to be here. That means this one is wrong. You have to look to another graph. So if you look to the second graph, the first point exactly the right one. X is 5 and y is 1. The second point is 6, 7. That means this is the wrong choice. Go to the second one. The second point is 6, -7. Here is 6. And y is -7. Here is the point. So this is right. Second point is right. Let's check the third one. -2 and 5. X is -2. So here's 1, -1, -2. And y is 5. Y is 5. That means this is the right one. The third point is right. The fourth one, -1, 0. X is -1, y is 0. X is -1, y is 0. So I'm not going to go up or down. So this is right. Let's keep going. So I found the location for this point. -7, -8. Let's say -7, -1, 2. Here's -5, -6, -7. And here is the point, -8. I'm going to go down, -5, -6, -7, -8. So this is also right. The last point, it says 7.5 and -6.5. So let's check here. 7.5, so here is 5, 6, 7.5 is going to be here in the middle. 7.5. Now let's check. -6.5. So I'm going to go down. This is 5, 6.5. So this is the location for this point. That's mean we got the right solution. This is the right option. Just going to choose this one. That's what they're going to give you on side. Number 6, they're telling you the point is 6 units to the right. So let's look here to the same graph. And I'm going to try to graph this one. They're telling you is 6 units to the right of y-axis. So here's the thing. They're going to give you the coordinate. 6 units to the right of y-axis. So here's the y-axis, 6 units to the right. So it's going to be on this side. That's mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to put an X here. Now I'm going to keep going. And 9 units above the x-axis. So here's the x-axis, 9 units above. That means I'm going to go up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the location for this one, for this point, is going to be 6, which is the x coordinate, and 9, which is the y coordinate. So that's how you're going to find x and y. So you're just going to type here, x is 6. Be careful because they already put parentheses. They're going to put x6 and y is 9. That's it for this example. X6, comma, y is 9. You don't have to put another parentheses. Let's keep going. Exactly the same thing. The point is on the x-axis. The point is on the x-axis. That the point exists here on this coordinate. So that mean x is any point exists on the x-axis. That's mean, let's write down here. Any point exists on the x-axis and 4 units to the right of y-axis. 4 units to the right of y-axis. That's mean the point exists on this coordinate, the x-axis, 4 units to the right of y-axis. Here's the y-axis, 4 units, 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's the location. 4 units to the y-axis. That means x is 4, and y, you see the point is going to be here. It's not up or down. So that means y equals 0. The point is 4, 0. The coordinate for this point is going to be 4, 0. So you're going to say 4, 0. Again, the point is on x-axis. There is the x-axis. But on the left or the right, it's only 4 units to the right of y-axis. So here's the y-axis to the right. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 units. So this is the location for this point. The coordinate x is 4, the y is 0. So let's solve example 8. Determine the coordinate in which x, y could be located. So here's the options. They're gonna ask you to find where is the coordinate for this point. It's going to be the coordinate 1, 2, 3, 4, or none of these. So we already know this is the first coordinate. This is the second one. This is the third one. And this is the fourth one. So always 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's see where is the coordinate for this point. They're telling you x is less than 0. That means x is a negative number. So if you look, where is the x negative number? That means x less than 0. Here is the x negative number. So that means the point is located on this side, on the left side. Could be this one or could be this one. Because they're telling you x less than 0. That means negative. So you see x is negative, here is x is negative, and here is x is negative. So this one or this one. Let's check the second thing. They're telling you and y is greater than 0. Y is greater than 0. Y is greater than 0, that means positive number. So this is negative, this is positive. That means the location for this point, x is negative, y is positive. This is similar to this one, 1, 2. So the location for this point is going to be on the second coordinate. I'm going to choose this one. We're going to do the same thing here with this one. Now, x is positive and y is positive. That means it's located on the first coordinate. X is positive, y is positive. So the location for this one is going to be the first coordinate. So let's find how it's going to be the distance formula. That if you have 2 points, let the first point is x, x1, y1. And the second point is x2, y2. So the distance between x1, y1, and x2, y2 is going to be, the distance is going to be, this is the distance is going to be the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So always when they ask you find the distance between these 2 points, that's mean you're going to use this formula. Let's do an example, and always be careful when you're doing the math, because you're going to do mistakes with the sign. Like this example, find the distance between the points. Find the distance between the first point is negative 13, 12. So negative 13, 2. And the second point is 2, negative 6. So I'm going to use the formula. Before I start using the formula, what I'm going to do, I'm going to say, you see, this is x1, this is y1. This is x2, this is y2. Then I'm going to write down the formula. The distance is going to be the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. I'm going to plug in the numbers. The distance is going to be x2. x2 is 2 minus this minus with the formula. This minus with the formula. x2 minus x1 is negative 13. So it's going to be negative 13. You see, so you have to be careful. There's negative sign here with the formula. x1 is negative 13. I have to write down negative 13. It's different sign. Plus y2 is going to be negative 6. Minus with the formula. y1 is going to be 2. Minus 2. Close the parentheses. So that's mean the distance is going to be, I'm doing this in details, and I want you to do the same thing. Here is the 2. Negative times negative is going to be positive. It's mean plus 13 squared plus negative 6 minus 2. Then next step, I'm going to add. The distance is going to be, you don't have to do these steps. I'm just showing you that in details. 2 plus 13 is going to be 15 squared plus negative 6 minus 2 is going to be negative 8 squared. See now, we're just going to square 2 numbers. So now the first one is going to be 15 squared, which is, this one is going to be equal. 15 squared is 225 plus 8 squared, negative 8 squared, which is 64. Positive 64. That's mean the distance is going to be 225 plus 64 is going to be 289. So who's going to tell me what's the square root for 289? The distance is going to be 17. Again, I'm showing that in details. You don't have to do these steps, just combine right away. It's fine. I'm going to ask you to write down everything in details, but be careful with the sign. So this one is going to be 17. That's it for this example. We're going to do exactly the same thing with the next one. Find the distance between these 2 points. Find the distance between the point 6. The second point is 0, 18. So again, before I start, write down the formula. I'm going to say this is x1, y1, x2, y2. Then I'm going to say the distance formula equal x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Now I'm going to plug in. The distance is going to be the square root of x2, which is 0, minus x1 is 5. This is square, plus y2 is 18, minus y1 is 6. This is square. That means the distance is going to be the square root of 0 minus 5 is going to be 5 square, negative 5 square, plus 18 minus 6 is going to be 12 square. That means it's going to be the square root of 25 plus 12 squared, 144. So 25, 144, 25 plus 144 is going to be 169. Distance is going to be the square root of 169. What's the square root for 169?
13.
13, perfect. So the distance is going to be 13. That's it for this example. And don't forget the 13 units. That means the distance between these 2 points is 14. So when you graph it, you see the distance between the first point and the second point is 13 units. You count the units between the first point and the second point is going to be 13. Okay? This is not 13, but it's supposed to be 13 units. Let's do this example. Find the distance between, because now we have fractions, 3 over 2 and the 3 over 2 with the second point, 2, negative 2. So we're gonna refresh our memory about how to add the fractions. So the first point is a 3 over 2 and 3 over 2. And the second point is 2, negative 2. Let's find the distance between these 2 points. So this is x1, y1, x2, y2. So I'm going to write down the distance formula. The distance formula is going to be the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Again, the distance is going to be the square root of x2, which is, sorry, x2 is 2, minus x1 is a 3 over 2 squared, plus y2 is negative 2, minus y1 is a 3 over 2 squared. Now here is the second step. Now we have number with a fraction. This means the distance is going to be, I'm going to do the adding these on the side. So 2 minus 3 over 2. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to write down this 2 over 1. Now I need to get the same denominator. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to multiply this one by 2 and multiply this one by 2. So here is going to be 2 times 2 is going to be 4. 2 times 1 is going to be 2. And I'm going to write down this exactly the same. So now I have exactly the same denominator. So 4 minus 3 is going to be 1. And I'm going to write down the 2. So 2 minus 3 over 2 is going to be 1 over 2 squared. I'm going to do the same thing here. Negative 2 minus 3 over 2. I'm going to write down this over 1. Then I'm going to multiply this one by 2. I'm going to multiply this one by 2. So 2 times negative 2 is going to be negative 4 over 2 times 1 is going to be 2 minus 3 over 2. Here is the denominator the same. Now negative 4 minus 3 is going to be negative 7. So that means this is a plus negative 7 over 2 squared. So I'm done from adding the number with the fraction. So the distance is going to be 1 over 2 squared is going to be 1 over 4 plus negative 7 squared is going to be 49 over 4. On this side, I have the same denominator, so it's going to be the distance equal square root of. Here's the 4. 1 plus 49 is going to be 50. So it's going to be 50 over 4. Now let's find out. Do we have square root for 50? For 4 is 2, so I'm going to take out 2. But what about 50? So let's write down this as a square root of 50. Is that 25 times 2? And here is the 4. So that means the result is going to be 25 goes out, the square root is going to be 5. And 4 goes out, the square root as 2. The leftover only 2, gonna keep it under the square root. That's it. So the distance between these 2 points is going to be 5 square root of 2 divided by 2. Don't forget units. That's it for this example. So the midpoint formula, which is the next one. So for example, if we have 2 points, the first point is A, and the second point is B. We need to find the midpoint here, which is the point exactly between A and B. So there is a formula that says the midpoint formula. This is the third part of this section, the midpoint formula. Let's check how is going to be the midpoint formula. The midpoint formula, you're just gonna say, again, if you have 2 points, A and B. So if A is x1, y1, and B, which is the coordinate x2, y2, the midpoint is going to be x1 plus x2 divided by 2, comma, and y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So this is the midpoint. The midpoint between A and B, you're gonna get a new coordinate for the X and Y. For example, find the midpoint between this one. Find the midpoint between this point, which is 7, 4, and the second point is 0, 28. So again, we can do exactly the same steps. This is x1, y1, and this is x2, y2. I'm going to use the formula to find the midpoint. So the formula is says x1 plus x2 over 2 and y1 plus y2 over 2. Then I'm going to plug in the numbers. So it's going to be x1, which is 7, plus x2, 0, divided by 2, comma, y1, which is 4, plus y2, which is 28, divided by 2. Simplify this one. 7 plus 0 is going to be 7, divided by 2. Can write down, keep it as a fraction. 4 plus 28 is going to be 32, divided by 2. Simplify it more. So it's going to be 7 divided by 2, and 32 divided by 2 is going to be 60. So the midpoint, the coordinate for the midpoint between A and B is going to be the X is 7 over 2, which is almost 3.5, and here is the Y. So when you graph A and B, and you're gonna graph the new point, which is the midpoint, you will see the midpoint is exactly between this point and this point. You're gonna graph these points, choose the right graph, and be careful, it's negative 13.7 and 13.9, and the second point is 6.6 and 5.9. So choose the right graph. Then the second part from this example is to find the distance between the point. So you're gonna go ahead and use the distance formula. Write down the result here. Then the third part is to find the midpoint. Also, you're going to use the midpoint formula. I have, I think, yeah, 2 examples, exactly the same thing. How are you gonna graph or figure out if you have a fraction? If you have a fraction, how are you gonna figure out on the coordinate? The easiest way to figure out if you have a fraction like this one, like the first point, I'm just gonna show you, if you have 1 over 2 and 1, and the second point, if you have negative 5 over 2 and 4 over 3. So how to graph 1 over 2? Divide 1 by 2. You can use the calculator. So it's 0.5 and 1. So it's easier to figure out where is the location when it's decimal number. 0.5, that's mean, here, check here, be careful for the scales. As a start, here is -2. That's mean here is -1. That's mean here is the half. So for this point, 0.5, it's positive. So it's going to be on the positive side. So here is 1 and here is 2. That's mean this is the 1. So this is the half. This is 0.5. So here is going to be, this one is 0.0.5, which is the x. Now let's check the y is 1. So look here, this is 2. So this is the 1. So here's the location for the first point. Let's check the second one. -5/2. -5/2 is going to be -2.5/2. Check that. 2 point how much? So you're just going to say 5 divided by 2 is going to be 2.5. So that's mean this point is -2.5. This one, 4 divided by 3 is going to be, see what I'm doing? 4 divided by 3 is going to be 1.3. So I'm going to say 1.3. It's easier to locate these 2 points. Let's check that. -2.5. So here's 2. Check how many scales between 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2.5 is going to be, this is a 3, because this is 4. So it's going to be here, 2.5. And y is 1.3. Check here. This is 1. And here is the location for the second point. Is not half, it's less than the half. So this one is the right option for the second point. That's mean you're going to choose this one. Okay. So an airplane flies from city A straight line to city B. So here's B and here's A. Straight from city A to city B. The location for city B is 120 kilometers north. So this is going to be the north, 120. And to the west is going to be 150. So look, the distance here, this is exactly like the x coordinate. And this is the y. So you can say that this is, let's say as a point, is 0, 120. If you want to use this one, or this one is going to be like the x. So you can say that this is 150, 0. So it's going to be the same thing. To find the distance, how far does the plane fly? That's mean they ask you to find the distance from A to B. So we're going to say, if you want to just keep it as a point, it's going to be right. Or you can say the distance is going to be, if you're using the distance formula between these two, it's going to be the same solution. Or you're going to say this is 120 square plus 150 square. So it's going to be any big number. Let's try to calculate this. 120 square, that's mean 120. Here is the 120, and here is the square. How are you going to square the number? 120 square, that means going to be 14400 plus the second number 150. 150, here is the square. So it's going to be 22500. Add these two numbers, this one plus this one. So the result is going to be square root of 36900. Now here is the thing. Now we need to find the square root for this one. So to get the distance of the fly, how long, how far is going to be, does the plane fly? So it's going to be the square root of this number is going to be 192. I think you can write down, yes, round your answer to the nearest kilometer. That means you can write down as a decimal number. So it's going to be 192 point kilometer. That means it's going to be 0.9. That's it. This is going to be the result for this one.